Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 2 of DGenYC, the place for all degenerates to call home. I love this podcast. I'm having so much fun doing this podcast. The reviews are in and they're raves, so this is great to get back on the mic weekly and to get content out there for the masses. So to all the new followers and subscribers and people who stumbled upon it along the way, welcome. This is going to be a fun ride. All aboard the pirate ship. We're setting sail and we're searching for treasure in these picks. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce my co-hosts. You know him, you love him. Heck, the guy brought on about 1,000 new listeners because we're number 46 in the United States stand-up charts for
Shout out,
Apple.
moving up, dude, moving
So,
up.
without a further ado, please welcome Yinzer, Yinzy F Baby.
Yinzy F baby, and the F this week is for Frankie Dimes because this pod wouldn't be here without you, brother. Super sky point to you, my friend. I'm throwing it all on you, but we're gonna do something a little different with this pod. I know last week was super pick heavy, super college football heavy.
Very.
The pod's gonna be a collection of college football. It's gonna be some DGen stories. It's gonna be some life stories, a little stand up, a lot of broad corner. This week we're gonna go, This week we're gonna go a little heavy. Last week was the steak. This week we're gonna go a little heavy on the sizzle. So, and next week is going to be a little combination of all of everything, coming together with that. But we got a lot of things, a lot of stories from my life, a lot of stories from Frankie's life. We've led a pretty unique, twisted, degenerate life. That's kind of the broken roads have led us here together to this pod. Hopefully, we get you guys.
God bless the broken road that led me straight to you.
Yeah, dude, Rascal Flatts is
Rascal Flatts, son, Gary LaVox.
Dude, wasn't Rascal Flatts like an ESPN Sports Center lead-in for a little bit?
Yeah, bless the broken road. That guy, I will say this though, that guy has a voice. He's on TikTok now. Most of his videos are him like singing in a Kmart somewhere.
Yeah, well, Rascal Flatts and Kmart, they can stay in the early 2000s, along with most of my good intentions and beliefs in life. But Frankie, I mean, we don't really have too many picks this week. I know that you just can't. You're a sick puppy. You're a dog. You can't keep your puppy. You can't keep away from these. So I know you bet something. Why don't you just let the people know what you bet so we can just get moving? But you know what? We're gonna drop some gold. Frankie Dimes, what'd you bet?
Okay, so I have two leans. Little lean, little sleeper, and then I have an actual pick for game week 1, which obviously we won't be putting out there till
a couple
weeks because we have week 0. You don't make it to week 1 unless you survive week 0. This is you know what I mean? You got to go 1-0 each week. So my two leans are Notre Dame under 8.5. It's now at 8 at plus 125 on most books. Really, really, really good value. Notre Dame, one of those teams I want to see sent to the sun. They have so many fans that have no affiliation with the program.
First year head coach.
Get them out. Injury news coming down. They might lose another captain, offensive lineman. He's out. They lost a receiver. He's out. They got a rookie quarterback, and I actually do like their quarterback. They have the best tight end in the country, in my opinion, and Michael Mayer. Anybody with the last name Mayer, I'm obviously going to be a fan. John Mayer, Michael Mayer, I don't care. I am a fan. I do.
Yes, the Bulldog fans are pretty upset about that tight end analysis, but they'll let you get away with it.
Sounds good. No, I did say best tight end room. Best tight end room in the country is Georgia. Second is South Carolina, but the best tight end in the country is Michael Mayer. Anyways,
it's a bold statement.
My other lean is over 5.5 wins for the Southern Miss Golden Eagles. They got an interesting program down there. Don't laugh. Let me get my analysis.
That's disgusting. God,
that's not disgusting. It's minus 105. It's decent value. Here's the deal. Frank Gore Jr., he's the super back. Yes.
We love him.
They didn't even have a quarterback last year, and they competed in a lot of games. So here's the deal. What they do down there in Southern Mississippi, by the way, their stadium, and by the way, I got the Rough Riders going through my neighborhood if you can't hear that. But where Brooklyn at? But
BK, stand up.
So what they do is they recruit the 5-star prospects in the Deep South, knowing that they're not going to get them, in hopes that whenever they transfer from the big schools, they go down to Southern Miss. So they got like 10 Power 5 bounce backs coming to play at Southern Miss this year. So that could be a nice pick for you folks. But here's the pick I actually made. And sorry for, running the light here on my time.
I love it. No.
My
pick,
pick,
picks.
My pick for week 1 that I've already locked in because I love it so much and the number has moved and I'm scared it's going to move even more and I want to get it before it happens.
We don't play games, we play numbers. Frankie, let them know.
Utah -2 at the Swamp.
Wow.
Utah will fly. They're listen projected to be one of the best teams in the Pac-12. They're returning a lot of production. They'll fly across the country. They'll beat anybody. They don't care. From the coach speak that's happening in Florida right now, it sounds like Billy Napier doesn't expect them to be fantastic out the gate. So let's just take advantage of that inefficiency right there.
I mean, a lot of people do have Utah finishing in the top 10, top 8, top 7. For that to happen, they're going to have to win that game. So if you're going to tell me that you're getting even money, do we love road dogs? We don't. But you know what? At a certain point, there's a reason they place the line where they want it. It's because they think they got a shot, and I don't.
It was one. It was 1, and then I waited too long, and I was like, well, I might as well get it now at 2.
We don't want it to see cross that 3. That's the threshold we don't want to see, especially on the road.
We don't. We play numbers. It's all about the numbers.
We're playing numbers here, but I love it. Like I said, next week
we don't take L's, we make M's. Actually, B's.
Wow. Just a couple bars in the podcast pretty early.
A couple bars.
But what we're going to do, like I said, next week is going to be some week 0 picks. So we are going to get in those week 0 picks next week. It's slim picking, so we're going to have to get in the mud. We're going to get in the dirt to get a couple picks. But I know I got a few that I'm not even going to tease. I'm going to wait till next week. But like I said, not too many picks this week. So we're going to jump right into just guys being dudes. We're just going to do a quick catch up.
Let's get it.
I know Frankie and I have been talking back and forth, but this segment's just really going to be about, dudes posting W's. What are dudes doing to get ahead in life? What are the boys doing in the group chat? I know I recently, I have a 9-month-old Australian Shepherd. His name is Huggins. Shout out Coach Bob, Hall of Fame, finally, long overdue.
HOF.
And of course. And, as a single guy, there's few reasons to get a dog. Paramount being is picking up chicks.
Oh,
and
yeah.
What are you going to do? He's back there just crushing a bully stick behind me. That's that noise you hear. But I got us some training. The trick that I am most proud of, and I think the trick is going to pay out the most dividends. I feel like I have a little trick play. I feel like I'm Matt Canada. A lot of motion going on in this trick. I've recently taught my dog how to do a selfie. So what I'll do, I'll go up. I'll meet a girl and I'll be like, oh my god, your dog's so cute. Does he do any tricks? I'm like, does he do any tricks? I'm like, Huggy Bear, do a selfie, and he runs right up behind it, puts his head on their shoulder, and they can grab a quick picture. They're going on IG. They're posting him. I'm like, make sure to tag Huggins the bear. They're tagging him.
He's got his own IG.
Listen, it's in the works. Okay,
oh my god,
it's in the works. Listen, I'm going way down the dad dog rabbit hole, and there's only one way out is up. I mean, you see my IG, it's mostly the dog, but
that is true.
It is, but the whole selfie trick, it's paid dividends so far. I've never had such a huge return on my investment. Okay. As far as this goes, this is like sitting on like a plus 1,600 ticket. And as far as this goes, I'm like, what else can I teach this dog? What else can I teach this dog where he's doing all the heavy lifting, and then I swoop in? You put the little bandana on that says like, oh, my dad needs a mom or something like that. Dude, they love it. They're eating it up. And work smarter, not harder. And that's the recent development. We're working on that. Now, if I can get him to stop, right after doing that, trying to attack them because he thinks that, everybody's like a giant chew toy, we'll see. But that was paying some early dividends. I got one more, a recent revelation in my life that's something where I don't really know how to handle this, but watching preseason, watching the Steelers game. Of course, I'm betting on preseason football. People say don't bet on preseason.
Shout out the victory right there. Big victory.
That was we posted that ticket on the sub.
We did.
We posted it right on the story. And this girl, listen, I even told her, I even gave her the chance to get an alias. I didn't want to name drop. I didn't want to check her like that.
Are you name dropping?
Stephanie with a Y. I'm going to name drop her on it. She's out here texting me preseason football slips, but she doesn't really know what the fuck she's doing. She's about 3 bottles of wine deep, and she's texting me lines for like Buffalo Rams. She's like, I won this ticket. That game kicks off September 8th. So she doesn't know what she's doing. She's firing from the hip, but we love the spirit. And
but she's sending out winners.
She's sending out winners, but
that's the thing. The only thing that matters is cashing tickets.
That's all I care about. And anytime a girl's going to pull up with a preseason football ticket, I'm interested. I don't care. I mean, whatever. I don't know what we're talking about. What's your love language? Is it physical? Is it gift giving? Mine is preseason football slips. So any girls, if you're listening and you want to drop in my IG and just post like a Rams team total next week, go ahead. I'll love it. I'll like, share, and subscribe.
Oh yeah.
Bro, Listen, I'm simping for all types of preseason football. So just
Yeah.
feel free to drop that on anytime. You know, dudes want to do it too. I don't care. Maybe, who knows? I just love preseason winners. That's all I care about.
We love winners in general,
Just love
honestly.
cashing
So
checks.
so chicks can drop preseason team total wins for Yinzer into his
Oh man,
teams. Ladies
please.
in my DMs, if you could give me run line first 5 inning run lines for baseball,
Wow.
I think we have a future.
Wow. But you love those first 5 run lines. I
We
still don't
love
really
I'm not on
understand
that
that.
I'm not on that no run first inning like every other frat boy in history is on the
NRFI is popping. It's a wave. It's the future. I mean, but
Nerfy. They call it the Nerfy. I don't like that.
I
Anything
hate
that's
that.
anything that's like big and trendy, I'm just gonna do the opposite. I'm just a contrarian at heart. I'm sorry.
You are. You do like fade the public, and you know what? That's why you're coming on top a lot. But it's I don't know. I
Thanks.
never got into the NRFI. I usually take baseball season as my time to refresh, recharge the battery. So I'm not betting a lot of baseball.
Oh, I
So
bet
as soon as
baseball.
yes, I know you do, but as soon as preseason football comes back around, I'm ready to go. But Frankie, any W's, any dude W's, any group
Yo,
chat
yo,
stories?
what's crazy, Yinzer, is that I actually do have W's, and I'm really happy we're doing guys being dudes last week, and I'm also really happy we didn't have a camera that worked last episode. I live in New York, and I have been getting just like kicked in the mouth for months.
Yeah.
And in the past 2 weeks, I got a string of green lights.
What did we say? What did we say last week? What did we say? We say hard times don't last, hard people do, brother.
We did. I think that was a private text.
That
I
was
kept saying like my story's gonna be so great when I pop off.
that's
Like
right.
it's gonna be great. So for those that don't know, I was homeless.
He was.
I was homeless for 2 weeks. Uh, Homeless is vague. And I mean, like I was just staying on my buddy's couch for 2 weeks with all my stuff in his office and his apartment. He was kind that my two friends were kind enough to let me stay at their apartment. One of them was moving into a place in DC, so there was enough space for me to move all my stuff in. But I was staying there for 2 weeks while searching for a new apartment with two gals that I now live with, and it's great that we are now all really good friends, and I'm really looking forward to this upcoming year with them. But I got a new place. I'm not homeless anymore. I've been getting on a lot more shows. I was on a show tonight before I recorded this, and then I talked to somebody afterwards who books a bunch of shows in the city, and they were like, "Hey, I'll get you in my rotation now." So that's even more shows coming my way. And at this point in my life, I'm 26 years old. I'm 1 year into New York stand up. I mean, I've done a little bit outside, but New York stand up, it's a whole different game. I'm really happy with the progress, and living with these girls, we're on this holistic healing. That's what we've been calling it, holistic healing. For them, it means like cutting out red dye 40 and like doing yoga. For me, it's like I'm gonna write more jokes. That's my holistic healing. Because I'm not. They were like, you need to cut gambling out since that's your vice. You're not a big drinker. Cut gambling out. And I was like,
Never
well, I'm
cut
not doing.
gambling
I
out.
was like, well, I'm not
Never.
doing that. So now I'm just writing every day, which feels great. And then also today at my place of employment that will go nameless,
Let him
I
know.
finally got my raise that I was promised 3 months ago.
And you asked them to send that directly to DraftKings, correct? Not direct deposit.
Correct, correct.
Of course. Of course.
Hey,
It's
Yenzi, we
saving
fly
taxes.
high, no lie. You know this.
Balling.
That's
We
right.
love it. I mean, we were balling on a budget. We were still doing it great. Now we're balling. We're just first class.
We moved
I
into a different
myself,
tax bracket.
bro. Listen, a couple O's on the end of the paycheck means nothing.
That's
The
right.
change never
It
gonna
ain't
change.
tricking if you got it. It ain't
Ain't
tricking if you
tricking if
got
you
it.
got it. I mean, ain't nothing changed with the change, but Frankie Dime's out here. He's not living underneath a what looks like the Harry Potter house last year, a little Harry Potter cave. Um,
It was a little Harry Potter-esque. It was a little Harry Potter-esque.
do these girls know that they're going to be featured on the podcast, whether they like it or not? Like it is going to seep into your life.
Yeah, I think they're open to it
NDAs.
also. I think they're
Okay.
down, which is great because they are so funny. We
Mm.
were experimenting with a little bit of the hot leaf and having girl talk, playing like card games that are normally reserved for like bachelorette parties. And like I have to answer these questions and stuff like that. Like, oh, what was the name of the first boy you had a crush on? And I'm just like, oh, I don't know. I
What
think it
was it?
was.
Yeah.
Oh, mine was Brady Quinn. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. I like the whole between this and you kept saying the word holistic, and I thought it was eventually going to be like a pun, but you actually kept it classy, and that's why you're better than me. That's why.
Yeah.
That's why you're flying. I
Yeah,
went
no,
30
it's
almost
holistic.
immediately.
It's holistic healing. We're holistically healing.
HO, not HOE.
No E.
Oh, okay, cool. I'm into that second part of healing, so I'll try to do that. That was me, dating a couple hippie chicks, but that's in my past. I'm better now. I'm
Dude,
stronger.
I dated a hippie chick.
Did you?
Well, actually, I dated a hippie chick for a night, so I guess that's not really hippie
Oh,
dating. I'm just
I
kidding.
mean,
I did
I
go
have
home
a.
with a hippie chick.
I did once. I was seeing this hippie chick, and she walked into my apartment. Like we were like definitely planning like a smash meetup.
Can I
She
ask
walked into my
something? Can I
apartment.
ask something? Can I ask something real quick?
Yes, of
And I
course.
love how I cut you off right there. But was
Love it.
she wearing like those hippie bell bottom pants that are really tight? You know what
No,
I'm
but she
talking about?
she did have a pair of those. No,
Mhm. People
she dressed
who have
super
those are normally
baggy.
bad people.
She dressed super baggy. I know the pants you're talking about. They've stopped me dead in my tracks. I've almost gotten like 3 car wrecks because of them. So I know exactly what you're talking about. But she came in just dressed normal. And I'm like ready. I'm like, all right, dude. I got like 2 candles going. I got like the candle that matches her sign. Cause you
Yeah.
know what? I mean,
2 candles
details.
because this chick smelled horrible.
Yeah, well, it's not a patchouli in the house, but that's okay. That's okay. I had to be like Kyrie Irving before she came over, just burning sage, walking through my apartment, just trying to get this thing going. But but she comes over and we're like, dude, I'm like, all right, I'm like, what's good? Like, what are you trying to do tonight? And she was like, you have a dark aura around you. And I was like, yeah, I fucking know, honey. And then she dipped. And this wasn't like the first time we hung out. Like, this is like the third or fourth. And she just walked in, didn't love the vibe. I didn't pass whatever vibe. Listen, I do have a dark energy.
You
That's
do.
apparent. I have a dark energy. If you could see people's energies, it would be bad. It's not quite
I'm
Vecna
looking
from
at you
Stranger
right now
Things.
on camera, and you know what's funny is I have a really bright camera and
Yeah,
yours is dark. So
dark
it's a very
for a
good
reason.
representative of our personalities.
Yeah, a little. I chose the Bundy filter for the pod just because of that.
Yeah.
But
But you know
she
what's
said I had a
funny is
dark
like,
aura, and she
go ahead,
dipped.
go ahead.
No, and I was saying she had a dark aura, and then she just dipped, and there was no explanation. And then the next day, I was like, are we done seeing each other? And she was like, no. She's like, you just need to realign yourself. And I was like, what the fuck does that? I don't
Come
know what that
on.
means. But regardless. But I don't know. That was my brief foray into hippie chicks last year, and we're over it. We're on and over it. So everybody's got to have a thing. I had mine, a little fling, and we're done. We're over it.
You gotta date around. You gotta see what's out there. For instance, I met a 31-year-old woman at a comedy club, and I didn't even remember her name, and I went back to her place. It was in deep Brooklyn. I was fairly new to the city. My phone dead. We
Dead.
go into her house. She says she's like some sort of like yoga instructor, healer
Oh,
chick
I
or something
remember
like
this
that.
chick. Yeah, yeah.
And I go into her apartment. It's just like books from like wall to wall. Like she had like nothing. No, like I think she had a couch, and then it was just books like loosely on the ground and stuff like that. It was kind of scary. So I'm sitting on the couch, sitting there waiting. I don't even know what I'm waiting for. I guess to get beheaded or something. And then she opens up a book on potions and spells and like makes this sort of like concoction,
She a
drinks
wicked.
it, lights sage, and wafts it all through her apartment. And then we go into her bedroom, and I was like, "Do you want to leave the door open?" And she was like, "Yes, I want the spirits to be able to come in and out." And then
Wow.
the next morning, I woke up, and her dog was on my chest, and it looked at me in the eyes. And honestly, I swear it was looking at me, and it was like the soul captured of like a past lover, and it was like, leave this place. Like the
And
dog
who
was like,
was she?
you need to leave now.
But this ex lover dog pervert definitely watched you film the entire act, and then he told you because he's like, I'm gonna at least watch this show before I let this guy bounce.
Of course.
Yeah, he
Of
was in
course.
the back of the room.
No,
That's
yeah.
that's another thing because you reminded me because the dog just popped up on camera. It's always a weird tango what you do whenever you're having some company over. What do you do with the dog? Because you don't want the dog in the room, but at the same time, you don't want the dog outside pawing on the door because that's just extra pressure. So
Yeah.
I never know what to do with the dog. I have a lot of high value treats in the house. I'll maybe throw to try to distract him. But at the same time, you don't ever want to have the dog pawing on the door because that's just like someone.
Dog
That's
pulling
like
a door
someone.
is the worst.
That's the worst, and that's like somebody like when you're trying to fix something, they're just right over you, and they're just like putting pressure on you. And I haven't quite identified it. I'm willing to open that up to the podcast. I mean, what do you do in the dog? What do you do with the dog? Do you let him in? Because then it's weird. Because then
Because
you're feeling like
is he going to want to get involved? Is he going to jump
yeah,
on?
yeah, and then you're feeling like the hot breath, and you're like, oh yeah, and then you're like, oh damn it, no, oh shit, it's
Is
Huggins.
he
Like
is he thinking maybe you're in trouble and he attacks the
yeah,
person?
he does, and then after it's like after you kind of rekindle, you got to go through everything, and like the dog's there looking. It's just weird. It's a weird thing.
It's
I haven't
tough.
figured it out. And I feel like as he's back there just absolutely going ham on a bone right now, I don't know. We'll I don't know. Huggins, it's not that I don't want you there, buddy. It's just
I over the
privacy.
winter, like early spring, winter time, I was dating this girl that had a cat, and dude, I'm
Ooh,
I'm done with chicks with cats.
it's not a great. It's not great. It's
Like,
not
and
great.
maybe I actually went too harsh right there, but like she just like there was cat litter all over the floor, and like anytime we were in her bedroom, it was just the cat wanted to come in and out, in and out, in and out, and it would always like try to like jump on like my head at nighttime, and like it was just a bad aura. That was the worst. That was horrible. That's also this chick is also the reason why I want the Syracuse Orange to their program to fail.
Mm, we remember that.
Yeah.
No ill against Dino Babers, but whatever. We gotta do what we gotta do. We gotta make our own decisions in here. But let's get to the meat of why we're here, which is really the podcast is DGenYC. We're gonna be talking about degenerate stories. I have hundreds of degenerate stories, some
Yeah.
good, some bad, some ugly. I got a few that I picked, not even my top favorite ones, just a few that when you're talking to a bunch of guys and you're gambling, especially guys that are big gambling, say, what's the most degenerate thing you ever did? And everybody has a story. And if you ever talk to anybody and they tell you the biggest degenerate story is a win, that person's a shitty gambler. The first thing they should tell you is about a huge loss.
Yeah.
That's how you know they're real.
Yeah.
But I got some degen stories. I got some good ones. I think I got some different ones, some different variety. Frankie, you want to bat lead off? You want me to go? How do you want to go, brother?
Man, you have such great stories, man. You go ahead. Take the wheel.
I'm gonna go. All right, I'm gonna start with one of my strongest ones. So I'm gonna go. This one's gonna have a lot of turns. So the people listening, I don't want you to judge me yet. I don't want you to say where is this going. Just trust that I'm gonna land this plane. Okay, I'm Captain Sully. I'm gonna get you where you need to be. May not get you where you need to be, but I'm gonna get you there safe.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna paint a picture. Okay, this is gonna start out very sad, but I promise you, we're gonna end on a high note. So my father, he pretty much led me into be what I am today. He was a huge gambler. He had me knee high in the bar doing parlay sheets, and he passed away a few years ago. We're at the funeral in Morgantown. Shout out West Virginia. And there's this guy in the back, so it's all family. It's family, friends. Everybody at the funeral. Everybody looks familiar if you don't know. And there's this guy just in like a windbreaker, pants, like ratty ass like shoes. And you're like, who is this guy? He's kind of keeping the distance. He's not really circling around the family, but like a couple of people there are giving him some head nods. I'm like, okay, he must be like, a friend, an old friend to everybody comes up, pays their respects, says this or that. This guy's staying on the outside. He's circling. He's like a shark. He's just circling everybody. And I'm like, what's this guy's deal? But he looks super familiar to me. And it goes on. We go through the ceremony. You go through this. You're eating and everything, and walking around talking to everybody. And finally, kind of sneaks up behind me, taps me on the shoulder, and he goes, hey, he said, I don't know if you remember, my name's Richie. I'm your dad's Bookie. And I'm like, oh shit. I was like, this dude is here to collect. Like this dude was looking at the obituaries, coming to see. And here's the deal. My dad was a $10, $15 better, but we don't unit shame around here. We don't
unit shame.
We don't unit shame. Whether you're betting $10 or you're betting 200, we don't care. We're here to all make money. Yep. The only thing that matters is green at the end of the day. So this guy pulls me aside. So I'm like, okay, and he's like, can we go outside in the parking lot and talk about this? And I'm like thinking, am I gonna have to throw down at my dad's funeral? So like I kind of look at my cousin. My cousin, he's a bigger dude. So like I check him, I give him like an eye, like, hey, I'm heading outside, like, just the universal, like, keep your phone on, see what's going. So I'm checking him. We go outside and he was like, I don't know if you know this. And they started talking. I heard the voice that I've heard my entire life in the back of the phone. So I realized like, oh, this is my dad's Bookie. And we're going back and forth, and he's like starting off. He's like, your dad was a great guy, blah, blah, blah. We knew him I knew him my whole life. And I'm like, and he's like, well, he's like, I didn't want to interrupt, but I did have to have a conversation with you. And at this point, I'm like, you know what? I'm a man. I'll settle my father's debts. I'm going to pay this dude out. It is what it is. If I got to go down to Kroger and pull out a couple hundo, I'll pull out a couple hundo. Maybe the timing isn't the best, but I understand business is business.
Right.
It's the industry we're in. And so he pulls me aside and he pulls out an envelope. I'm like, okay. I'm like, what is this? Pulls out an envelope. The thing's chock full of cash, bro.
Ooh.
He didn't come here to collect. He came here to pay out. And he hands me an envelope. He's like, here. He's like, listen. He's like, this was your dad. He was up, and he's like, the boys down at the country club wanted to add a little bit for him as well. So not only I'm coming back in here, now I'm just bawling, crying because I'm already a mess, and I'm just walking in here with this stack.
Wow.
And I go to my mom. And I just go to my mom. I just hand my mom an envelope. She's like, "What's this?" I was like, I felt like I was in the town. I was like, "Ma, you can never ask me where I got this envelope from. Just don't worry that everything's taken care of. It's all good, Ma." And so to this day, my mom is like, "Where did this wad of cash come from?" But that's what we're talking about. That's the kind of degen stories where it's like
She
everybody
doesn't
always thinks
know still?
no. She'll
What?
know. I mean, she'll figure it out. I'm sure she'll figure it out. She'll probably listen.
How
But
does she not
she was.
know, dude?
I mean, it's like, you think people just come up to you at a funeral, like, "Hey, here's a couple, here's some cash." But his bookie came to not only pay his respects to one of his loyal gamblers, but to cash out and keep the lineage going. And it was that was incredible. That's always one of my favorite stories. I think I was telling you off pod that we actually cousin Sal actually told this story on the Bill Simmons pod whenever he was doing his I forget cousin Sal's pod. I think it's Against All Odds. Great gambling pod. He was looking for degen stories that made one on the top of his list.
Wow,
So
man.
it's just incredible. And it's always one of those stories where it's so surreal where you're just like going, you're thinking like, even you're doing this thing that everybody looks down on where you're like, hey, you can attach something positive where, you're cashing slips at the end. But that's what I say. There was one final slip cash from my old man that always makes me super happy when I think about it. And I'm like, I took that money, gave my mom some, and, we took that. I think I took like 100 and just rolled it over to see where we can go with it. Cause that's what the old man would have wanted. But we go from that story, which was super wholesome, super fun, to one of me. This happened actually. This was in October last year, where I may have overindulged. I may have been a little out of my element. I may have had a few things, couple cocktails, couple small batch bourbons, and I was watching. I think it was
two small batch bourbon.
2 small batch bourbons, and I was betting
Are
on.
you talking the campaign right there?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
it's
a
like, I may
Cam
have
Brady 012.
pulls down the window shade. It's right there.
It's just
I've wanted that my entire life. But we're at so I'm watching the game. I'm watching on my YouTube TV, and like you get up, you pause the game, you just get back, and if you're going to take a leak of the piece you do, come back, play the game. So I'm doing this, and I'm a little tipsy, okay?
Okay.
And of course, when I get a little tipsy, I'm gonna start live betting. Everybody knows it happens.
Yo, one thing, folks, that you need to understand about Yinzer, like this guy buys out of so many of his own picks. He cashes out. He'll hedge. He'll double that. Like this guy live bets like a madman, and he gets burnt sometimes.
You get burnt. Okay, you listen. You play with fire, you're gonna get burnt. So I'm treating live betting like I'm blackjack. I'm like, I get those. I'm like, I should probably double down. I'm gonna split those bad boys. But what's
Yinzer will
happening
watch
is
one drive and be like, "O line's dead. Got to get off this pick."
how many times have I texted you? Like quarterback will just short hop one throw. I'm like, I'm out. That's it. I'm done watching this.
Dude, seriously, it'll be like last year, like it'll be something like Texas Oklahoma Red River shootout. Like they won't score like the first like 8 minutes of the game, and you're just like dead, and then you look at the scorebook, it's like 72-70 at the end, and you're just like, all right.
I think one time I texted you, whatever, I forget the game, but they had a false start penalty. I'm like, they're not ready to play. And I bought out like immediately. I bought out one play and I just wasn't having it.
One play, you're having to call timeouts like out of a kickoff. Like that's bad. West Virginia was the king of that last year.
Oh my God.
The timeouts out of a kickoff.
Dude, Neil would burn those time. I don't think he ever took a
Yo, what's crazy, not to interrupt your degen story real quick, but what's crazy is Jarrett Doege going down to Western Kentucky and not being able to beat out a D2 quarterback. We were playing with a D2 quarterback for 2.5 years, bro.
We said it on the pod last week. You said, what was the bit? That's why we were so bullish on the West Virginia over was that. I remember you sent me that Jarrett Doege thing, and I'm like, how bad? And listen, we're not here to crush dudes that are playing football. That's not why we're here.
No, I'm not here to crush 26-year-old men still playing college football. No,
I'm a little bit. But at the end of the day, the dude can't even get on Western Kentucky, and that's pretty bad. That hurt. But I think it was TCU whenever they had a false start penalty in like the first play of the game. I'm like, Gary Patterson doesn't have him up. I'm getting out.
That being said, they did hate Gary Patterson though. Players
did not like Gary. That's okay. Hey,
now he's at Texas. Now he's at Texas as like an analyst. What a fraud,
bro! That's the Alabama method, man. They got to keep.
It is the Alabama method, and West Virginia's got a couple analysts too.
We love that. But I think what happened is when I was doing this, so I like the live bet. Like Frank said, I'm always live betting. I'm checking in and out of bets. And what happened was, so I paused the game, but I was too drunk to realize that I didn't pause it. So I was 20 minutes behind live betting. So I'm like looking at these odds. I'm like, these odds are incredible. Like I'm seeing the Bengals on like the 5-yard line. And I'm like, they're plus 350 right now. And then they throw a pick and I'd be like, fucking Vegas, this game's rigged. And this went on for a quarter and a half. Frankie, I lost $425. I lost every bet I placed because I was betting like drives. Like I think I had one where it was like, will the drive end up in a field goal? And it was like 3rd and 28. And I was like, okay, it's gonna end up in a field goal. And the guy threw it, like fumbled it a second later. I'm like, what is going? Like I went full tilt. And then what happened is I get up, and I'm finally like, I'm so pissed off. I get up, I go to get something to eat or go get a drink or something. And I sit down, and I sit on the remote, and it starts doing this fast scrolling. And I'm like, no! Oh my god! Like I sobered up. I've sobered up quicker than I ever have in my entire life.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, and then I'm looking. I woke up the next day, and I'm like, dude, I drowned like $600 in live bets because I was too drunk to realize that I was 15 minutes behind on the live game, and that's gonna happen.
Hey, you'll have that. If you dance, you got to pay the fiddler.
You're damn right. And those are just two of my most degenerate stories. The two that come to mind. Maybe not two of the craziest, but just two of which are going to happen.
Those are good, man.
It's the strong ones. I mean, Frank, you got any DGen stories for me? Anything you want to share?
I got a good one.
Here, hit me with it.
I'll give two.
I'd love to hear two.
I'll give a good one and a bad one.
There's always both sides of the coin in this industry.
19 years old. Interested in sports betting, thinks he knows a ton about sports. Always. Goes into it blind. You can't gamble legally, so you get on the site that everybody gets on whenever they're in college, Bovada.
Had a lot of good times at Bovada.
Had a lot of good and a lot of bad times at Bovada. I'll get on that online blackjack. See
ya. Usually the bad times are when you're trying to cash out.
Yeah, well, I learned that one the hard way. So the very first bet I ever placed was a 5-team parlay. I think it was during college football bowl season.
We love those.
Just like I put like $25, $30 on it or something like that. I had Florida beating Iowa. I had Wisconsin covering against Western Michigan. And the only reason they covered against Western Michigan is because Western Michigan missed a PAT at the end of the game. I had Penn State covering against USC in the Rose Bowl. They Trace McSorley, and they did. And I had an over in another game, and I don't remember that game. And then the big underdog that was like the thing was a second division English soccer pick. It was Newcastle. I had them as my big parlay booster. And get this, okay? I can't find a stream of this thing anywhere. All right. So I'm 19 years old. I'm at my parents' house. I'm on winter break from college. I am sitting up like in the living room listening to an English radio station on my laptop. And I hear this guy, don't even remember the name. He whips in a free kick and he bangs it, puts it in the back of the net. Newcastle, which was the lowest team in the league, beat like a top 5 team in the league, 1-0 off a free kick. And the first bet I ever placed in my life won like $400.
You're just hooked. You're hooked. It's always like that. It's always like the first bet. That's why like anything you ever take about the sports book first time, you're just like, here's $20, pick whatever you want. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Like that's why you always see grandmas winning like March Madness pools and shit, dude. There's something about knowing so much that you know nothing.
That's a good point. And I went through a lot of years of thinking I knew it all, and now I actually do know it all. So
we don't know it all, but we're making informed bets. We're not bets.
Yeah, and we're doing like a lot of like statistical analysis and like
we're looking
numbers.
for edges. We're looking for advantages. Yeah. That's all we're doing.
So that's my good one. The bad one comes to us from 2019 when I was a professional baseball scout, and I don't think I was legally allowed to gamble, but I was gambling, and I had an offshore book, and I thought I had a hot tip on a game.
Oh no.
It was senior day in Miami. All right. Mind you, I think baseball season had just ended or was about to end. So yeah, senior day. It was probably late in the season then. So senior day in Miami, they're playing Louisville. And I think Lamar is in college at this time. It is like 28-3 at half, or like something ridiculous, like 35-3 at halftime or something like that. Miami is just killing Louisville, and I had Louisville because Lamar. All right. I get so pissed off every time Miami was scoring in that first half. I was looking up how to make money fast, how to like make X amount of dollars fast, because I was down and like this was going to be like my big winner to like bring me back. I was chasing, and now I don't chase. Now I don't chase. No, now I don't
Put the
chase,
phone
but I was
down.
chasing at the time. And
I
so I found
still chase.
myself registering my car to drive for a Lyft in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Mind you, I don't have a Pennsylvania license or a Pennsylvania registered car. I'm here to tell you, it's not that hard to be able to drive for Lyft. It's like, have you committed a felony that's like an act of violence? No, then okay, you could probably get it. You could probably do a white collar crime and still drive for Lyft.
So you're driving around this the little fake lift, listening to the Louisville game, I imagine, on the radio, just taking
Oh,
hard turns.
I had the Action Network up. Like I was getting score
I knew it.
notifications, and I was still like, I'm like holding out hope that maybe they'd come back, and just like every time it was just like ding, 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 like, and
Like,
then
I'm gonna
like
quit my day job.
other bets are coming in, and they're also like dead duck losers, like down 14-0 out of the gate, like. It's so bad. So basically, people didn't think I was a Lyft either because I didn't have my stickers. I didn't have those pink stickers. So the only thing I had was like pieces of paper that I printed out that said Lyft on it, that was in like black and white, and I taped
Just
it
put
with
it in the back of the window.
athletic tape to my windows. And there was a couple that got in my car one time outside of the Bethlehem, Pennsylvania casino. And the guy like looked at me really strange before he got in, and like tightly like hugged his wife as like protection, and then like got in the back of my car and was like, the place is right over here, sir. And I was like, oh, okay, sounds good. And then like he's getting out, he's like, I tipped you on the app, and like he was like afraid of me or something like that.
I
But
mean,
yeah, I was down so bad I picked up a side hustle. That was my degeneracy.
the fun thing is too about Uber, like not quite Uber Eats or quite Lyft, but if you walk into any McDonald's and just go to the window and say Uber Eats, they'll just hand you food. It works every time. I'm just gonna tell you. That's a free tip for all you college kids out there. Just walk into any Chipotle and just go find the girl that looks most frazzled to be like, oh, I'm here picking up for, and they're like, yeah, is it? And you're like, oh, I'm sorry, I got a drink too. And like, oh, I'm so sorry. And I mean, free food
Oh,
every time.
I'm sorry, it says I got an orange high C.
Yeah. Oh, for orange high C. Don't even get me
Yeah.
started. That's a 15-minute segment. That's a breakfast goat champion meal. If
Wait,
you go to
what?
McDean's,
What'd you just say?
what?
That's a breakfast drink?
The orange high C is a breakfast drink.
That's fat
I'm
people stuff right there. That's FPS. Oh, yeah.
what are you telling me that whenever you go to McDean's,
Well,
whenever you
first off,
go
I
to
don't eat fast food.
okay, oh okay, you don't flex on everybody like I give a shit. What is that a shot at me because I Chick-fil-A today?
No.
Okay. But first of all, orange high C is a breakfast beverage. It's closer to orange juice than it is to Coke. I don't need to legislate this with you. I think I'm right.
No one's saying it's close to Coke. People are just saying it's just like drinking like fruit punch, essentially. Like that's not a breakfast drink. It doesn't. It's not like Sunny D, which is also like sugar water. Is like that would be a better breakfast option than High C. High C is like soda adjacent.
Orange high C is a breakfast. Listen, history is not going to smile upon your take. They're going to look back at me and they're going to say he was ahead of the curve. And for all you people getting your McGriddles and your orange high C's, you're welcome. That's right. Sometimes I dip them. I don't care. I don't need to.
What? Are you putting a
I'm not
little
gonna be
syrup
judged.
in your hair? Maybe it's been a
A
long
little
week.
stir in my hair, a little bit right there. You know, sometimes I'm having a bad day. A little orange high C in the hair, a little orange, maybe behind the ears, a little bit. Brings the
Yeah,
ladies in, especially
I am literally
especially the
Googling
big
orange iced
girls.
tea right now, and I'm gonna see orange lava burst.
Ooh yeah. I could do a tight 7 minutes just on Ecto Cooler if you let me, but
Well,
I'm not.
that's a whole different thing. Hold
It's a
on,
whole
I'm gonna
different thing.
see orange for
I see.
breakfast. Is
Yeah,
orange high C good for you?
yeah, it's
It's
delicious.
very low in saturated fat, cholesterol, and sodium. It's a very good source of vitamin C. I highly doubt that.
It's, I mean, it's basically
It's got 10
a
grams
cure
of
all.
sugar, non-carbonated, sugary, soft drink.
Listen, I hate to pull out the fake news, but Frankie, you're being fake news right now. Orange high C, as healthy as you're going to get in the breakfast. It's part of a full breakfast experience.
Okay, whatever,
Next
dude.
time, listen, next time you go to McDonald's, I'm going to get you an orange high C, and you're like, "Well, I don't eat McDonald's. I'm going to go on an 8-mile run, and then I'll eat your McGriddle. It'll be great. That's why we're
I
going
will
together.
try the high C.
Try it.
I will try the high
Try
C.
it. Just try it.
What do we got for Broad Corner? Let's close this thing out.
Oh, bro, broad corner. Listen, this is what I mean, this is something I've been fighting uphill my whole life. And this is something, you know what? I was thinking about it, and I like to bring everything back to football. You know that.
Yeah, you're a
I
football
feel
guy.
like everything can be solved between those lines. You know,
Between
and I'm thinking,
I got a funny thing for you. I heard today on a different podcast, somebody was talking about driving home. He goes, "Make sure you keep it between the mustard and the mayonnaise." Talking about the yellow and
love
white
that.
lines.
Love that.
I love that.
Let me tell you, I've been getting a lot of feedback on the running back by committee comp last week. People are loving it.
People are
People are
saying
loving that.
things.
People are talking about the RBBC committee. People are looking at their girl and trying to figure out what their girl is. They're looking at like, they're coming home thinking they got a Najee Harris and maybe they got a Trent Richardson.
Oh
And
boy, the hole's over
listen,
this way, Trent. Hey, by the way, fellas, well, if you like the RBBC, I just want to let you know, another one alternative slogan for the DGNYC podcast is if you can't change your girl,
change your girl.
that's right.
I mean, that's what it comes down to, and that's the offensive coordinator at heart. Listen, sometimes they can't do everything, and that's why you got to have a stable. Me, I'm just lucky to have one that'll maybe answer a text back, and that's like I'm just left on red, seen 8 minutes ago, better than seeing 10 minutes ago. At least
There it is. Silver linings, baby.
Silver lining.
What do
But
we
here's
got? What do we got?
about.
What's the theory today?
This is broad corner, and I'm going to bring it back. It's the friend zone. People have been talking about the friend zone for years, but I got a spin on it, and I got my own take on it, and I got my own ways to get out of it. People say once you're in the friend zone, you can't get out. That is false. That is not true. I've made the leap. I've made the jump. And let me be like all those weight loss commercials. If I can do it, you can do it, bro. Believe in me when I tell you that the friend zone, there's a way around it. I'm going to bring it back to football, and I'm going to bring it back to the friend zone is no different than getting out of the friend zone is no different than getting a first down in football. Okay, Frank, you're gonna have to stay with me. Just trust me again. I'm gonna land this plane.
I'm trusting, baby. I'm trusting you, big
man. First and 10. That's your first time you're meeting this girl.
Okay.
The board's open. You can run the ball. You can throw the ball. You can make some huge forward progress. You can put yourself to be failing for the rest of the drive. So the first case, first down, you can just shoot your shot. Okay, you can say 9. You can tap that helmet and just send that receiver deep. And that's when you're shooting your shot. You're like, listen, let's go out sometime. And you know what? Sometimes that works. Sometimes that guy's streaking past the safety for a tutty. But other times, you know what? Maybe you miss that C gap. Maybe that guy comes right in the middle and stuffs that blitz. So you're looking at first down and you're like, you know what? It could go either way. But let's say, hypothetically, let's say you're conservative. Let's say you're Chan Gailey and you're like, you know what? We just want to see, want to put some feelers out there, how we like this girl. And you know what? Maybe you get stuffed at the goal line. Maybe you pick up a couple yards. You're going to second down. And so this is where you have the girl where, like you're still feeling her out. Maybe she's throwing out some ideas like, oh, we could go out on a group date, or oh, maybe we could like go grab coffee. And you're like, where do I stand with this chick?
Right.
Am I trending in the right direction, or am I slowly setting myself up for a bad drive? And I mean, I've gotten out of this ways in some very unique ways. I've tagged along to a yoga class, ended up hitting after. I'm not proud of that, but you know what? That was a risky play and it paid off.
It worked. Yeah.
So the way I'm coming at this from an offensive coordinator point of view. I coach some football. I'm looking at, what's second down play where you're trying, you don't want to go the full on. Do I want to commit to this girl? Do I want to let her know I'm all in? So you're still trying to hold your card back. You know what I'm saying? You're not letting everything go. So this is where you want to try your little halfback screen. You want them to come in. You want to see what she's saying.
Yeah.
So this is where you're going to send out a couple feelers saying, oh, what are you doing this weekend? What are you doing later? And you know what? Sometimes she pulls in and sometimes she lets down her guard. You drop that just right over that defensive end. He's going for 7. But other times, you know what? She's shutting it down. She's like, oh, me and Robbie are going for drinks later. And you know what you do right there? You just burn that ball. You just start right at the feet. You're just burning it. Okay. And you're like, listen, we'll go to fight another day. And whenever you're doing this, and that's going to take you. So guys, let's say you've met the initial meeting, you've got the number, you've done the text, you're doing the DMs, you're doing the snaps and everything, and you're not getting where you need to be. You're not smashing. You're not even moving forward. You're at third down right now. What do they call third down? That's the money down, bro. That's the money down. Okay, what do they say? That's when players get played. That's where men get laid. That's where the simps finally come out ahead, bro. And that's third down. And this is the point where you've tried everything. You've tried all your best techniques. You've thrown all your best stuff out. You've tried all your power plays. This is where you got to do the trickeration. So you got to do a little finesse move, okay? And, this is where you're going to try, you're going to try one thing, but you're going to give them out. You're like, oh, hey, my buddy got me some tickets for, the Mets this weekend. You want to go? It's option. You're giving her an option out. You're giving her an out.
Yeah.
You're not forcing her. A caged animal is the most dangerous. So you're giving her an out. Okay. And you know what? Maybe she's going to hit you. Maybe she says yes. And you know what you're doing? Move the chains.
So, was that a WVU?
WVU.
First down.
First down. And that's where you're going to try. That's your last where you're saving face. That's your third down. But maybe she hits you with some lame excuse. maybe she's like, oh, I'd love to, but I'm gonna be, I'm girls' dinner that night. So you're thinking in your head, you're like, you know what am I doing? Am I gonna, where is this going? And you're looking at fourth down, which nobody wants to be on. Fourth down is where you got to decide, are you going to go for this? Or are you going to play conservative? And, we're talking about, I said earlier, I coach football. What do they say? Every drive you want to end in a kick.
Yep.
And sometimes that means a punt. So sometimes you're on fourth down and you're just not feeling the vibes. And you're like, you know what? I'm going to punt. I'm just going to kick. I'm going to punt on this broad. Or, you know what? Maybe you go for the Hail Mary. Maybe you go for the little bootleg roll up. Maybe that fullback's on the flat, and you're trying something sneaky. And this is where
Spider 2Y banana.
Spider 2Y banana. This is where you're just laying all your cards on the table, and you're just like, you know what? Hey, I know we've been talking for a few times. I don't want to go to the conversation of what are we? Never want to have that conversation.
Nope.
But we hate the what are we? But you're going to question, be like, you know what? Hey, I'm into you. What do you think about this? Let's go out sometime. And you know what? That way you're just laying on the table. Now this can end terribly. And let me tell you, I work in an office full of women, and everybody used to say is like, oh, the worst thing I can say is no, right? Oh, the worst thing I can say is no. No. The worst thing is they come in and you end up on their group chat and they're just slamming you. That's my biggest fear in the entire world. I hear how these girls shit talk these dudes.
They're ruthless. They're
fucking ruthless.
I've been the subject of some group chat talk.
That's my biggest fear.
It's not good.
And they're talking like they're showing me messages of these dudes. These guys are like, hey, I'd love to, I have a boat. You should come out sometime. And these dudes are like, oh my God, it's probably your dad's boat. And they're just crushing this dude. And that's honestly, that's my biggest fear is I don't ever want to be on the receiving end.
It's very valid. It's valid. It's a valid fear.
I don't ever want to be on the receiving end of a girl's group chat just crushing.
I've gotten my own text screenshotted, sent back to me on accident before.
It's my biggest fear.
Like she was sending it to somebody else and like it got sent back to me. And I was like, I don't think this was meant for me.
How do you even recover from that?
She said, she said it was like, she was going to send it to her mom.
Wow.
I was like, that doesn't even make sense.
Wow. And
all I did was like ask her out.
And dude, that's what I'm saying. That's all it could be. That's where it could be. It could be as nonchalant as
let's go get ice cream. This was when I was younger. I was in college. This happened.
Bro,
I'm a completely different man now.
I'm so terrified at this point whenever you're going in where you're just like, hey, you want to grab a bite to eat? And she's just like texting her friends that shit. And you're just getting shit talked. You don't even know it. You're just catching strays. You have no idea. Bro. Like, bro, just catching strays. But listen, at the end of the day, gambling, dating, it's the same thing. You're risking a little to get a big reward. And, sometimes you got to take those risks. Sometimes you got to give up. But more times than not, sometimes you get a little quarterback sneak. You never know what you're going to get. Sometimes your boy comes on the other side and he's pumping up the crowd. He's pointing it and they're moving those sticks. All I'm going to say is shoot your shot. But at the same time, bros, don't be creepy.
Don't be
dick
creepy.
pics. Don't be creepy. That's what I'm saying with the friend zone. That's where people get weird. Listen, if she's curving you, just accept it.
Just take the L, man.
Take that L. Listen, live punt. Live to fight another day. Don't be sending dick pics.
No, absolutely not.
Don't be stalking. Don't be messaging below.
Billions of other women in the world.
That's what we're saying. And that's the thing where everybody thinks, you need to kind of get, gambling, you're picking 63%, you're considered a legend. So think about any times where you've gone into something, you're coming out, who knows? Who knows? Maybe you pull a number, maybe you don't. But if you're looking at this as a zero-sum game, you're never going to get ahead. Okay, you're playing the odds. That's all we're doing here.
Playing the odds, baby.
That's all I'm saying, Frankie.
Nice. I like that I'm a big advocate of punting. I played special teams in high school. I love special teams. So I'm always, I never double text. I'm never going to double text. If you're not interested, if you don't respond back to something, even if it's something mundane, like, hey, how's your day going? And now you don't get a response. I'm punting. I'm moving on. I don't care. My feelings aren't hurt or anything. As far as me and like getting in the friend zone or anything, I just don't I am the air raid offense of dating. I have 4 plays. I've loved them and learned them. And I come to you from a different formation. Maybe I start out with, I meet you in this setting or I meet you in that setting. Either way, you're going to get the same moves. Love them and learn them. I mean, listen, I'll score on peanut butter and jelly. It doesn't matter. All right. That's what I do.
I love it. That's what I'm saying. I mean, that's the biggest thing was you just want to really make sure that you're not chasing. We don't even chase shots.
No, we don't chase.
So we're not going to double text. No. We're not going to go back. We're not going to text good morning, beautiful. We're not doing that.
No, absolutely not. You know what's wild is like hidden in the misogyny of this podcast is a lot of pro women talk.
A lot of pro women talk.
We very much are pro woman.
We love it. Listen, people come at me and they'll say Yinzer. They say that's a misogynist talk right there. But I'm coming from a good place.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just trying. We're all trying to figure it out. But at the same time, we don't want to
We
be.
hate creepy dudes more
We
than we
hate
hate.
creepy dudes.
We hate creepy dudes more than we not hate, but more than we dislike like annoying women.
I would rather a girl straight up curve me and I just take that L. I
Yes.
don't ever want
If
to
you
be the
don't like
dude that's
me, that's
texting.
fine. That
That's
is
fine.
fine.
But I'm gonna come back. Listen, I'm gonna come back. You got to get back on the horse. But at the same time, that's coming from I've seen dudes make that mistake. I've seen dudes in my friend group make
Yup.
that mistake. And you just want to go to your boy and just be like, bro, just tap out.
Yeah.
Listen, sometimes
Punt,
you get
bro.
caught
Ain't
up.
nothing wrong with punting.
There's nothing, dude. I think that's what we should take away with this, and that's
Yeah.
what take away in gambling. Don't chase your losses. Don't chase your exes. Don't chase your fucking shots, bro.
You got that right. That'll wrap it up from us today. If you can't change a girl, change your girl. That'll be the name of this episode. Don't be afraid to punt. All right.
Look,
As far as stand up stuff, I got a bunch of new shows coming up next month. So get at me on Instagram, Fakers_. See them in the city if you want. Yinzy F baby, you got anything?
Frankie, I got one more quick thing for you. We're going to run down something that I'm wondering about because we didn't do any college football talk. So I'm going to do some college football, gambling sins, fair or foul. I want a quick 30-second ruling on all these. And we're going to take this as gospel for the rest of the pod.
Yeah, I'll do a 30-second. I'm doing a 30-second thing, and then
I
we're
want quick.
yeah.
All right. Fair or foul, fading the group chat.
Oh, that's foul. That's so
Foul.
foul. That is disgusting. If you're not a ride or die guy in the group, I don't care if you're betting dimes like one of our friends does. You ride with the mob. Amdu Allah.
To Allah, Shaba. All right, foul. Next one. Gambling against your favorite team to lose, not just to not cover the spread.
That's fair. That's called the a heart hedge.
It's emotional hedge.
Emotional hedge.
Yeah.
And which I'm very much a fan of. So that is we're fine. Listen, the only thing that matters is cashing tickets.
All right. Gambling against the team after the live mascot died the week previously.
That is a money lock, and that is why I'm on the Houston Cougars to win the AAC this year. RIP Shasta. Delicious drink, and also a very beautiful big cat, and it will be missed.
Very beautiful. The next one. Now, this kid you got to know your friends. Fair or foul? Talking shit to your buddy after he loses an absolute monster play. 5-10 unit play. Fair or foul?
Bro. Foul. It's so
Nothing
easy
cool
to
down.
be the guy that's like, why'd you bet that? The die
hate
has
that
been
dude.
cast. Don't you think if I knew the outcome of the game, I would have bet the other way, you moron?
We hate those dudes. And the last one. Gambling against the service academy on or around 9/11. Fair or foul?
That is deplorable. You should honestly be annexed to a different country. That is disgusting.
Those are the rulings. Okay, they're ironclad. There's no going back. Now you can take it to your boys, and if they try to violate one of these rules, they're a line stepper. Maybe kick them out of the group chat, give them a cooling off period.
We are habitual line steppers, but not in that sense.
Not in that step. But Frankie, that's all I got. I think this was a good just talking episode, getting everything that we needed out. Next week, we're going to hit the picks. We're going to have a couple more defenses. Week 0, the week starts. Next week is going to be the true podcast. Whenever you guys are going to see what we do, we're going to mix a little bit of this in with a little bit of college football. Frankie, I don't got anything else to say. Bring it home, buddy.
And with that, that'll close the book on episode number 2 of DGNYC Podcast. Thanks for stopping by. Remember to like, subscribe, tell your friends about the show so it can grow. And, this is a place for degenerates to call home. So come on home. Peace.
Come on home. See ya. Peace, Frankie Dimes.